you apply enough solder to completely close in the end, so that as you look down into the RCA jack, it's enclosed, and there's no openings down in here. You then cut off the end of the wire that was sticking out, and you've got a good solid connection there. What I usually then do is rotate the end so that the shield is in contact like this, and this is where you'll need a pair of needle nose pliers. Take your needle nose and bend the edges down like that. Bend the edges down so that they're making good contact. So now you've got not only an electrical connection, hopefully, with the ground, but also you've got a mechanical connection with a strain relief. So then you can pull the shield back up and screw it back on. So now you've got a new end on the end of the RF switch where the old was bad, and you've now effected repair. Again, about $5 is a fair fee to charge to do a repair on one of those, since a new one is about $10. The tricky part comes when you get to this end of the RF switch. Inside is some small screws that need to be taken out, and I'll show you what's inside this. So we'll hurry here and take the screws out. Okay, remove the cover. You'll notice it's a pretty simple device. It just slides right out. Move the bottom cover out, and here's the circuit board. Again, what you've got a couple transistors, switching transistors here. You've got the TV signal coming in. I'm sorry, you've got the antenna coming in this direction, and the TV going out this direction, and the Nintendo coming in here. And what happens is when power is applied to here, these three transistors switch and cut this off and send the signal from the Nintendo out to your television while your switch is cut off, and it provides enough isolation that the FCC has okayed it, that it will work okay. So it's a very unique device. But again, you don't need to use this if you don't mind using the manual switch. Now usually what happens is if it breaks here or in here, you can desolder this, and I'll take you through that here real quick, or desolder this. This is again a little more tricky. Under here there's a shield that not only provides an electrical connection but a mechanical connection so that it's hooked to the circuit board and doesn't move around a lot. Same here, as you can see, but this one is covered up with some heat shrink. This one is just exposed. So what I usually do is you lay that down, again, get your solder wick and get a good clean piece of it here. Am I getting to the end here? No, it just was attached. So get a good clean piece of your solder wick, clean the tip, and apply it to the area. Big enough piece that it's taken actually. Now, there's two connections here that hold on the shield, and there's one connection here that holds the tip in. So you actually have to remove, desolder 3 positions. Now inadvertently, by heating this up, I melted and desoldered this connection. So we're going to have to make sure you look for that and repair any desoldering that you didn't intend to do. So here we now attach it, or apply it to this end of it, and we desolder that properly. And we'll desolder the tip. Okay, so now that it's all been desoldered, you can pull it right out. I don't know if you can notice the close-up here, but you'll notice on the close-up that you have a metal shield here that's holding the outside, and you have the center portion coming through here. So what you want to do, you want to bend these back, bend both of those back. Try not to break it. Bend that back, bend that one back, and then cut and strip identical to the way it is there. You may want to clip this off as a model. So we'll bend those back, being careful not to damage it, as I mentioned. And the way to bend them back is I usually take my wire cutters and just kind of inch them through like that, and that gives me enough to where I can pull it through, pull it back. And again, same thing up here, forcing it through, it gives me enough. So I've been able to keep the shield here. I did a little damage to that, but that's all right. We're not going to need that anyway. So theoretically, we would cut this just prior to, or just above, just below where the damage has occurred, and would throw the bad part away. Now, laying this next to the part we want, what we want to do is we want to strip and insulate, strip the insulation identical to that. So what we'll do is this one here we want to cut right through to the center. So we'll pull that one off. We left a few little braids here that we're going to cut off with our wire clippers. So we'll pull that back with our wire clippers and cut those off. So now we have that much sticking out, just like that. And what we want to do is strip the insulation off the center there. Now what I like to do right here is to tin that part to give it a little consistency so it doesn't bend around and unravel while you're working on it. So now that that's tinned, what we want to do is we want to come back about a 1/4 of an inch, leaving enough insulation for it to make a firm mechanical connection, but taking enough away that it makes a good electrical connection. So there we have it. And now what we'll do is we'll lay that directly back down in, right where we pulled it out of, just right where we pulled it out of, okay? And using the needle nose, we'll crimp it back together, just like where we took it from, and there you have it. You have your end right from where we started. Bend that piece over. You've got a triple solder joint now. Throw that away. And it fits right back down in to where it pulled out of. See? So we've got a good mechanical connection. Make sure that your braids are cut off or back to where they're supposed to be. Okay, now you've got a triple solder joint to redo. So resolder the center portion of the coax, and now we're going to resolder the strain relief ground part of it. Let it cool down. Cut off any excess that might exist, and there you have it. You have a good connection cut off. You'd repeat the same procedure up here. I don't usually put the heat shrink back on around it. Repeat the same procedure here that we did here with this portion. Now you can do a couple things. This coax is not a solid center coax. It's a braided center. So unlike most coax cables, you can't just get an F connector, cut this off, strip it back, and put a new one on, because the center is braided. So that the center needs to be rigid enough to fit inside. So you can either pull this one off and get a coax that is rigid and reuse it, or you can pull this one off and go down, like I said, to a video place, or if you've got one laying around, just cut off about 6 inches of a VCR cord and reuse it. We'll check this one for continuity. Check this end. Touch it there. Touch it here. Getting good continuity. And touch it to the shield.